These people who are in the exec roles will have this shadow network of, say, other accountants to help them. But we need people. So somebody on the legal side, again, looking at that, I think it'd be sensible for us to have somebody who's got that insolvency experience just in case there's another kind of bait scenario that develops. Fourth role is fundraiser. Somebody whose task it is to raise this 10 million, is to go out and talk and get these £100,000 commitments, but also to be able to liaise with fan clubs and such like and get the, if there's any crowdsourcing, and get the £100 things in. So somebody specifically who can kind of work at all levels in terms of raising those funds. I'd like us to have somebody who is a negotiator, somebody who is used to negotiating at this level with these types of organisations. We need marketing and public relations, somebody to help control our message both on and offline. And then the seventh position is an infrastructure position, making sure we've got the technology to be able to carry the project through. So this is a plea I've got from the people we've already talked to and know already. I can fill these 7 places with people who are very good. But this isn't about us just sticking to what we know, it's stretching out there and saying, look, is there somebody who could take any of these roles? And we want people to get in touch and tell us that they'd like to be, considered for these roles. Outside of that, I've talked about the shadow network. So if you've got skills where you think you could help with the fundraising and setting up crowdsourcing, or you could help with the marketing and the webs and the PR kind of thing, well, the exec who's in charge of, say, marketing PR, if they've got a shadow network of 20 or 30 web developers, then we're going to be able to do a lot more. So it is really, it's what Sniffer said about keeping fighting and getting out there and not giving up and giving it a go. It is time for everybody who wants to be part of this to try and think, well, what can I do to help? The advantage of, obviously, being in that shadow network of people who are helping is that you're closely involved, you're seeing what's happening, you're getting that clear transparency of what's happening because you're part of it. So I want people to come forward. Probably the best place is on the togetherleeds@mail.com email address. We very quickly want to be able to progress. We know that things are changing rapidly. So I'd like to be in a position where we can announce a 7-person exec within a week. By the time the Huddersfield game will be good. Picking up on a few people have said, well, how can we buy into Leeds? What's the legal status? This is a quick run through of the status as per the last accounts and the sales purchase agreement between Cellino and Eleonora Sport and GFA and entities. We know that, as I said, Ken Bates has told us that there's been an 8 million investment in new equity into the club. There's nothing officially on the Company's House website, but we've been able to confirm that that is true. We don't know how he knew about it before anybody else. Take a guess. But it potentially could be ominous, obviously. But this is the legal status as it was before that was released. We'll know more about that because it will have to be released shortly. But Cellino, through Eleonora Sports, has got 75%, and he's got the right to drag GFH along. So if you came to a deal to buy it from Cellino, he can force GFH to take the same terms, so you can't buy the whole thing. GFH controlled 25%, but certainly before this 8 million went in, actually only own the 10.5%. Cellino's first refusal on any deal that they do. But because he's not seen as, he's not passed the owner's test, he wouldn't be able to action that for the next 90 days or whatever it is. So there is actually a window of opportunity for us to buy from GFH, and Cellino couldn't kind of take over that bid. After the 11th of April, assuming the Football League don't find another reason to ban him, then he has got the right to actually take the deal that we've negotiated. And, you know, and that in itself would be seen, I think, as some kind of issue. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Thanks, Pino. The affiliates then, as existed, IIB have got 7.5%, Nuruda has got 7%. If they want to sell, they're connected to the GFH part of it, which, as we understand, would mean GFH would have maybe first refusal, Cellino would have second refusal on it. So there is a chance of separating those out, and there is so much disruption within GFH and discontent that is feasible, but it's a more difficult kind of angle. Strange one, GFH could potentially sell the whole club from under Cellino, because if he's failed the owner's test, then the agreement could be void. Now the argument is, did he pass it and then subsequently fail it, or did he never pass it? It'd be open to a massive legal challenge, but you know, this is Leeds. And then obviously this threat of administration. We actually think that there's a big vested interest in Cellino not going towards that direction, but it's a very, you know, fluid situation. In theory, a shareholder's debt doesn't count towards the votes. Now we're aware that in the past people seem to have been able to avoid that particular rule, but as it stands at the moment, the 8 million of non-GFH and Cellino debt would choose who the owners were. But you know, that might happen. Okay. Bear in mind what Sniffer was saying about we've got to go out and fight and be tough about this. We're not going to get the attention of GFH by writing them a letter and saying, please will you see us, and we're really interested and we're really passionate fans and I'm sure we could help. It's not going to happen. One of the things that Don Reedy used to do was write dossiers on the opponent. And it's pity Sniffer's gone, but anyway, it's not bad. Here's a dossier that Les Cocker did for Don Reeve. Don Reeve was the England manager. On Liverpool, Leeds, 1975. Ray Clemens, Kevin Keegan, a new lad called Phil Neal. Was he Don? Sorry, yeah. It's really saying LC on the top, I assume. Yeah. So it's actually Don Reevy's comments here, which is interesting. Paul Madeley, and then the bottom one, Alan Clark. And he says, I felt sorry for Alan because with no Mick Jones or Joe Jordan, he was more or less used as the target man. And if after he played balls back to midfield, after he played the ball back to midfield, players was trying to make the strike position as well. He worked very hard throughout the 90 minutes, but was foraging by himself because of the two lazy and very average players alongside him in Duncan McKenzie and Peter Lorimer. So, anyway, light relief before we get on to the serious stuff, and to finish off on the serious stuff. If we're going to actually do something about this, we need to grab GFH's attention. In the kind of 70s kind of football parlance, we need to get in their face a little bit. And these are some reasons why I think, on the GFH dossier, why they might want to sell. When they've got something that belongs to us, it's ours, and they've taken it, and we want it back. And they're picking a fight with 100,000 Leeds fans. That's different than picking a fight with some corporate company like, you know, who wants to take over Leeds United. It's different. We've got something that the corporate company doesn't have. 100,000 Leeds fans can get right in the face. And I'm not, to be really clear, I'm not
advocating that we do anything illegal or immoral or asking Leeds fans to do anything illegal or immoral. This is consumers, this is people networking and having an effect on opinion. Their share price, they're worth about 280 million at the moment. Their debt in Leeds United is worth 22 million. If, because of holding Leeds United, we knock 30 million off their share price, what's the point of them having 22 million of debt? We've got to show them that it is not worth them keeping what is ours. So, these are the areas where they're vulnerable to 100,000 of us doing something. Share price decline. Reputational damage. We already know the allegations that are in the leaks. Some of these are legal documents that have been leaked. Legal documents that refer to money from Iran. If that is true, that is in breach of US and UN sanctions. And there's sanctions that can be imposed for that. Now, as 100,000 Leeds fans, we need to start connecting those dots and connecting people who might want to know about that with the information that is out there. And as I said, these are legal documents. The legal documents are making allegations. We don't know whether these are true or not, and the next slide will make this point. But that's an allegation that's being made. Similarly, allegations of using client funds. We need to get this information around and spread. The whole situation of the embarrassment of David Haig being held without charge, not that we need to fight this fight, but it could be useful for us right now. Shareholder revolt, we already know that something like 30% of GFH shareholders are trying to get rid of the GFH board. Partly because of the Leeds United situation, but for a whole load of reasons, not least the share price has been in decline. These are things that we can take advantage of. And one thing that is very damaging for GFH, they're closely related to the Bahraini royal family. If that reputational damage starts to infect and affect Bahrain, then GFH are in really serious problems. Now, we say this is a dossier of things that they're vulnerable on. From a GFH perspective, this is from the last annual account. Reputation risk is the risk that negative perception, this is what they say, reputation risk is the risk that negative perception regarding the bank's business practices or internal controls, whether true or not, will cause a decline in the bank's investor base, lead to costly litigation against them that could have an adverse impact on liquidity or capital of the bank. Being an Islamic investment bank, reputation is an important asset. Right? So we know they're saying that they're vulnerable to this. Now, do I want you all to go out there and spread this word? Well, I know in negotiation, the unfired bullet is much more powerful than a fired bullet. So what I actually think we need to do is, as Norman Hunter or Billy Brennan would have said, this is giving them one early on. Ref, let us get away with this one. They're aware of this now, that we have got a power that other people who want to buy from GFH haven't got. We can start loading the gun and firing this bullet. But you know what? We've got no problem with GFH. This is not a battle we won. Just give us back what belongs to us, and we have no battle. You carry on your own way. But if you don't want to talk to us, don't want to negotiate, then we've got a gun that we can load, and the consequences are really adverse for GFH, and definitely not worth holding on to a piddling 20 million of debt that you're never likely to kind of get. And that's the message that really I wanted to make sure we get out, that we've got a loaded gun. We haven't fired it, I don't want to fire it. I'm happy for GFH to walk away and find their own battle and deal with David Haig and UN sanctions and fines and anything else that comes from that without us interfering in it. But if they don't give us back what belongs to us, then we've got to fight them, and that's what we're good at. So, as I said right at the start, are we ready to make some luck? Are we prepared to make some luck, make the opportunity fall into our lap? What can you do, either in the room or online, pledge to help either as an exec or as part of that massive shadow network of people? Invest your money. As soon as we have got mass membership, it is important that we quickly demonstrate that this isn't just a talking shop. It's what Sniffer was saying. You know, we won't let the club down. We'll do something about it. We need to make sure that people see, hang on, yeah, these people actually, there's some substance behind what the fans are saying. Got to encourage others to do likewise. You know, after sitting here and listening to what Sniffer said, you know, it's difficult not to think you want to do something. We've got to get other people to do that. And we have got to be ready to have a battle if they reject our ideas. So finally, we know Leeds united will never be defeated. So let's keep fighting.
Good deals.